Hi, very good afternoon, teachers. Welcome to those who are here today already. We will be starting very shortly. Welcome to those who are here early. While we wait for class to commence, let's get to know each other better. I see that some of you have already shared in which school you're teaching, what subjects you're teaching, and how many years you've been a teacher. For those who are joining us here for the first time, you will need to first click on Create Channel in the chat box. I'll speak to you shortly. A very good afternoon and welcome to all the teachers who are here today. I see a lot of teachers coming from all over Malaysia, from Johor to Penang. Hi, teachers. Selamat berpuasa to those who are fasting. Thank you so much for joining me here on this webinar this afternoon on how you can teach English with Google Apps. My name is Natasha. I am from Arus Academy. We are a social enterprise made up of former teachers and other individuals who are here to empower the creation of meaningful learning experiences. And this webinar is just one of the ways that we do that. I personally grew up in Labuan, speaking a mix of Bahasa and English at home. So I have taught basic English to underprivileged communities across Malaysia, the Orang Asli community, some orphanages. So I am very passionate, as I'm sure all of you are here today, about teaching English in the funnest and simplest way possible so that our kids can grow to love the language as well. So before we start our webinar today, some housekeeping announcements for those who are joining us here for the first time. You can pause, rewind, and play this video at any time. So don't worry if you want to just recap what I've just shared with you. You can always pause, rewind, and play at any time. The video is recorded and can be viewed at any time. Again, you can view it anytime tomorrow, anytime a week from now. All you have to do is just go on YouTube and search Arus Academy. Or you can also click the same link that brought you here today. I have included that on my slides, which is also available in the description box below. There will be ladder points for MOE teachers watching this webinar, and certificates will also be given to those who watch this live and qualify by answering some questions. All the details for the ladder points and certificates will be shared at the end of the webinar. So I have divided our webinar today to 4 sections. The first section, we will learn how you can teach your students to read and listen better, especially during the MCO period, with the Read and Write for Google Chrome tool and with the use of ebooks. Secondly, one of the most important aspects of any language, the reason why we learn any new language, is to be able to speak it. So we want to learn how to improve our students' speaking skills using tools like Screencastify. Number 3, I will also share with you a simple tool which can help your students with their writing. And the 4th section, which we will explore during the webinar today, we'll cover different ways you can make comprehension a fun and interactive thing with your students. All right. And finally, I will share with you how we can bring all of these 4 different learnings together on Google Classroom. So for the first objective of our webinar, which is to help you teach reading and listening skills, I would like to share with you about this amazing extension which I discovered recently. It is called the Read and Write for Google Chrome. What is this extension? If you've never heard of it, it's an extension for Google Chrome, which means that you won't be able to use it on Mozilla or Internet Explorer. Extensions basically extends the benefits of Google Chrome to make your life as a teacher more efficient. Before I get into too much detail about the Read and Write for Google Chrome extension, I would like to invite you to first download it on your laptops, on your tablets, on your devices, so that we can learn how to use it together. Let me show you how, all right? So what you want to do is open up a new window. If you can see this here, let me just enlarge this so you can see better. There you go. So open up a new window here and then click this button, Apps, on the left side of the screen. And you can click Web Store. That would bring you to all the different add-ons, apps, which you can add on to your laptop. Right here in the search box, you can type Read and Write. I have already downloaded it on my laptop, so you would see it right here, Read and Write for Google Chrome. That's the correct one. What you want to do, if you don't already have it, you'd probably see something that says Add to Google Chrome here or Add to Chrome here. So you want to click on that button. I already have it installed. So mine says Remove from Chrome. But if you don't, please click on Add to Chrome. It is free for teachers, which is great. So please let me know if you are done downloading the Read and Write app by putting an emoji in the chat box. While you download it, let me just quickly mention that the Read and Write premium features is free forever for teachers. All you have to do is sign up on the link which I have shared in my description below. That link basically would check that you're a teacher officially teaching in a school around the world. It would require you to fill up some details of your school administrator's email address, your school name, so that they can verify that you are a teacher. It would take them a few days to verify that you're a teacher, and from then on, you would have access to the premium features forever if you're a teacher. All right. As for students, the premium features will only be free for them for 30 days only, but after that, they would still have access to some of the main features. But you know, hey, 30 days is a long time, especially when you're learning from home during the MCO. So I would highly recommend that teachers and students download this extension on their laptops. All right, let me check if most of you already have it downloaded. There you go. I see a lot of emojis. Great. So while Read and Write has a lot of features, these are the 5 of the key features which I will share with you today. Before we go into hands-on practice, let's not forget that this tool is to help students with reading. So let's look for some ebooks online to read and also use the tool with. I have shared a link in the description of the video to one of my favorite ebook websites for students. It is called Room to Read. Let's open it up on a different tab. You can click on this link right here or in the chat box, and that would open up to a new window. I already have it downloaded, opened up here. So here, as you can see, this website is perfect for young students who are learning how to read. I love how it has 6 different levels to cater to the different reading abilities of students. There's level 1 up to level 6. It describes to you exactly how it is all different. Students can also choose the different categories that they would like to select. This covers the topics of the books, you know, whatever interests them, they could click on that. So for the purpose of today's webinar, I would like to click on this little story here. It's called The Little Elephant's Big Adventure. I have that opened up here. So when you click on that story, let me just show you what it's like. Another cool function of this website is you can save the stories offline. This is great for students and also teachers who have problem connecting to the internet from time to time. So students can always click Save Offline right here. It saves up to 12 stories at a time, and they can always read that story anytime they want. So here, once you click Read Story, it opens up to this little window here. if you already have the read and write extension, you would see a little cute icon up here. It's a little purple icon. That's the read and write for Google Chrome extension icon. Let me show you the first cool feature of this tool. 1 second, yeah. There you go. So here, the Little Elephant Speak Adventure, when you click on this, one of the first tools that I would like to share with you about is the text-to-speech feature. So what this does is you can select any text you want. This works on PDFs, it works on Google Docs, and you can play around with any of the icons up here. How you can use the text-to-speech feature is you can highlight the text that you want to be read out loud and select the play button here.
The Little Elephant's Big Adventure. Author Walter Yobu. Illustrator Good Luck Mashallah.
So here, or you can also click the hover speech button right here and select here.
Cadu was a little elephant who wanted to go on a big adventure.
See, imagine how great this would be for students who would love someone to read a story to them, especially when they're at home right now. The good thing about this is that students of different reading abilities can also change the speed of how fast it's read to them. All you have to do is tell them to click on these 3 little dots right here. It brings you to options. There is a speed button here. I usually use 50 as an average, but for students who would prefer that the voice goes slower, they can just reduce it to 30 or even much slower than that. 30 to 40, that's a good pace, I think, for new students. And then all you have to do is just click OK. On top of that, students can also select different voices for it to be different voices they want to hear from. So if you would like someone from the UK, please go right ahead. You can tell them to select UK English Serena. There's even a UK English Daniel if you would like to hear a different accent. I think this is great to set students up for the different ways that the English language is pronounced by different speakers from around the world. Generally, I like to stick to US English because I find it's the closest to our pronunciation. So I would stick to US English Ava, but you can encourage your students to explore all the different voices that we have here. Korean, Italian, they would have a lot of fun with this. So there you go. Once we have US English Ava, you can adjust the speed, and all you have to do is click OK, and it would continue reading the story for you. Isn't that cool? The second feature which I would like to share with you is the dictionary feature. Before that, let me just quickly check if we have any questions in the chat box. None so far. I think it's quite clear. That's great to know. Right, so then the second feature, which is very, very cool on this read and write feature, read and write Google tool, is the dictionary function. What you have to do is just have the students tell the students, hey students, if you come across a word as you're reading on your own and you think that, you're wondering what it means, all you have to do is select the word, highlight the word here, for example, adventure. That could be a big word for our new students. All they have to do is select that word and select this icon up here, this book icon. It says dictionary when you hover over it. There you go. It tells the students what it means. Adventure. It also has a picture dictionary. Hold on. For some reason, it's selecting a different word. Let's use a different word. Let's see if this works for us. If that doesn't work, tell them to press stop, select the word again, and click on dictionary. It's still selecting the word US. Let me check if this was highlighted. Here, press OK. Let's try this again. students click on the word adventure, they click on the dictionary, there you go. It tells you the meaning of the word adventure. When it's used as a noun, when it's used as a verb, that's perfect for students so that they don't have to come to you every time to ask what the word means. It also has a picture dictionary for the more visual learners. All they have to do again is click on the word, click picture dictionary, and it shows them a photo of what adventure looks like. Someone looking at a map, someone running through a trail. There you go. Okay. So those are the two cool features on Read and Write Tools so far. The third feature, which I would like to share with you about, especially for Malaysian students who are non-native English speakers, who grew up speaking Malay or Mandarin. If they come across a new word, for example, and they're wondering, what does that mean in Malay, cikgu? Adventure tu apa, cikgu, right? So all they have to do is, again, highlight the word and select an icon up here, that right here. Don't worry, again, you don't have to remember what each of these icons mean. All you have to do is just hover over it and it would tell you what it is. Right here, it says that this is the translator. So once the students have selected the word, they would just need to select the translator icon. And it tells the students that adventure means pengembaraan. Isn't that cool? Feel free to play around with it. Let me know if you have any questions at all right? That's only the third function. The fourth function I would like to share with you about is the read out loud function. I love this because I'm able to hear how the students pronounce the words, I can track how the students progress when it comes to reading. So I've had some questions about the Read and Write tool, on whether or not it can be used on Google Docs. Yes, the great news is that yes, it can be used on Google Docs. So right now, let me just open it up on Google Docs here and show it to you. Let me just share my screen. There you go. So right now I have a Google document open. I've copy pasted a short story here. So what you need to do is then have the students, for the read aloud function, the student will just need to select the paragraph that they're supposed to read and click on this button right here, practice reading aloud. That opens up a new window here. And students can start reading it. It shows you the paragraph that they've highlighted. All the students need to do is click start recording. So people have been coming to the wise man complaining about the same problems every time, for example. And they would then click stop. Once they're done, they could play it back. So people have been coming to the wise man complaining about the same problems every time, for example. And they would then click, there you go. If they're happy with that, they could send that over to you by clicking this send to teacher button. Isn't that nice that you can hear your students reading stories, check their progress? So here I have a list of teachers already saved into my account. If it's your first time, the students would just need to click here. I can't see my teacher. Let me enter their details and just click they would type in your email address here and find my teacher. Okay. This is great for you to track your students' progress when it comes to reading, especially when you're not seeing them during the MCO period. So that's how you use the read aloud function. Okay. Moving on to the next function, that would be the vocabulary list highlighter. Let me just close this window very quickly. And let me share my window again with you. So here, for example, I have the same document open from Google Docs. So what you can do with the highlighter, this is the fifth function, okay, is that as students are reading short stories, whether it's on Google Docs, whether it's on a PDF, whether it's on the actual ebook itself, they could just highlight big words that they, that makes them wonder, what does this mean? Or they want to record it. I remember growing up, I would have a little book, a little dictionary that I created myself, of where I would include words that I come across as I read new books that are new to me so that I can remember them better. So I would then write it down in this small little dictionary, and right next to it is where I would write down the pronunciation as I remember it. And from time to time, this dictionary would just grow. This is how it helped me to learn bigger, better words over time. So I would highly recommend students to do the same. What they can do as they read any stories online, when they have this tool, is that, for example, they would just click on, okay, right now I'm showing you an example of what it looks like for someone without the tool. When they open up a story on Google Docs, this is what it looks like. All you need to do is click on this tool up here, on this icon again up here. And as students are reading the stories, if they're wondering about a certain word, all they need to do is highlight those words. Make sure to highlight here on the actual read and write toolbar and not your Google Docs toolbar. So highlight it with any of the colors here on the read and write toolbar. And so here I've highlighted a few words that, I would be intrigued by, like complaining or roared or joke. Okay, so I've highlighted a few words here. You can even highlight more words. Just select the word here, select highlights. And then when you're done reading through the story and you've highlighted all the words that you wanted to mark, all the students would need to do now is just click on this little icon here. It says vocabulary. What that would do is that it would open up a new document on your Google Drive, save automatically on your Google Drive. There you go. You can see it opened up right now. And it would actually list all the words that you've highlighted, which is great. It would also include the meaning of the word taken from the dictionary. You would even have a symbol of the word to help the students remember better. So as I was telling you earlier, one of the ways I learned the English language better growing up was I would actually write down how the words are pronounced in my little dictionary. So right here, the notes section is a great section for the students to write down how it's pronounced. For example, complaining. How would I remember how that's actually pronounced? I would probably write it in my own way. That's spelled with a K. Complaining. Plain maybe sounds like an aeroplane. Complaining. That's how I would remember it. So I could easily just write pronunciation here. Complaining, okay, help me remember. So you can scroll down and see all the other words that you've highlighted, that you've saved. Joke, laughter, roared, a loud deep sound usually made by an animal. Isn't that amazing? So the students again can write, for example, the way it's used perhaps here. The lion roared very loudly. Students can use it as a note, taken from which book for them to remember better, okay? So those are the 5 very, very cool features of the Read and Write Google Chrome tool. Let me check if you have any questions. To recap, the first one was the text-to-speech feature. Second one was the text dictionary and picture dictionary feature. We also had a translator feature, the read out loud, that allows the students to actually record their voice, send that over to you, save it to Google Drive. They could do that as well. They could also save it to Google Classroom as an assignment, or they could, the fifth feature is the vocabulary list, where they could highlight words that they like or that they would like to come back to in the future or learn from in the future. Let me check if you have any questions here. I see a few questions about, do we have access to the premium feature after 30 days? If you're a teacher, yes, you do. You have a access free. It's a free for teachers forever. What you have to do is just, again, check out the description. Under my video, I have put in a link of where you can register as a teacher. And this allows you free access for life for teachers. Does it work on the phone? That's a great question. I have tried, and unfortunately, it does not work on the phone. You do need a laptop or a tablet to use the read and write tool, teacher. Okay. All right. How to translate in Chinese? Let's find out. I will show you an example. Again, let's go to the, let's see if that works. Let's go back to our favorite word of the day, adventure. Life is always an adventure. So click on the word adventure. You need to select the options, the three dots here, right here. Select options. Under translation here, you can change it to any languages you want. So here we have Bahasa Melayu, which is great. That's French, Spanish. Let's see if we have one in Chinese. There is Chinese Simplified and Chinese Traditional. I won't be able to tell you if the translation is correct, but let's try. Let's try Chinese Simplified. And then all you have to do is select OK. Before that, I do want to show you that there are many other languages that the students or yourself can translate the word to. We have Mongolian, practically every other language you can think of. And I like that they have the Malay language on this. So Chinese Simplified, let's click OK. So let's select the word adventure. Let's select the translator button right here. And that's what appears. Let me zoom in and see if you can see the word. There you go. I'm not sure if it's correct. Only you would be able to tell me, but this just shows you that it can translate to many, many, many different languages. All right. Let's see if we have any other questions. In order for students to use it, do they have to download it on their computer? Yes, they do. It's a very quick download. It does not take up a lot of space. It would be the same steps that you had to go through, which is open up a new tab, go to the apps button on your new tab, and then just select add to Chrome. That would bring you to the toolbar. That would then show you that there's an icon here, and that shows that you've already downloaded it. All right, it is awesome. I love this tool. Okay. So now moving on to the next tool that I would like to share with you about. Let's go back to my slides right here. And now moving on to our second webinar objective of how you can help students progress their speaking skills with Screencastify. Here you go. So if you remember, once upon a time ago, before MCO happened, we would usually ask students to stand up in class and read a paragraph out loud. Because we are not able to do that now, don't worry, Screencastify can help you to do the same, where you can hear the students read it aloud, read something aloud. So what you need to do for that is to open up Screencastify on your tab here. For your information, Screencastify is a free screen recorder for Chrome. So let's learn how to use it. For the best learning experience, as usual, let's first open up a new window and use it. I'm going to open up a new window here. I believe I already have it open. Let me just close my previous windows. There you go. So here we have Screencastify. I've already downloaded it. I already have it installed, but you would see an install here button, I'm sure, on your window when you open it up. Once you have it installed, you know that worked when you see this little button up here. Let me just zoom in so you can see. Right there is the Screencastify button next to your read and write button. So you know you have it open, you know you have it downloaded. What you want to do is then tell the students, for example, in Google Classroom, read this paragraph, record yourself reading it out loud with the Screencastify function, and submit it to me on Google Classroom. I would then open up a short story for the student to read. Right here, for example. Let's unhighlight these words. Oopsie. Clear highlights, there you go. So then what the student would do once they have it downloaded on their laptop, you can also, of course, give the students an example of this by recording yourself, giving your students the instruction on Google Classroom. So very easy, just open up a page of what you want to read out loud. An assignment that I would suggest for you to give to the students is during this time is probably to read a news portal. So in this case, I would open up the star.com.my. As you can see, I would then have them select a story. Let's see here, of course, the news on COVID. And then once the student has that open, this is an example of an assignment that they can do. I would give them instructions on Google Classroom and say that read this news story from the star.com.my, record yourself on Screencastify, reading it out loud. So then once they have that link open, they would then just click Screencastify here. And it would count down 3, 2, 1 before it starts recording. Before that, they would have to select, they would have to switch on their microphone so you can hear them, because that's the whole function of the exercise. They could also embed their webcam. This is great if you want to see your students who you have not seen in a while. So they can also select desktop options. This would show their whole window, or webcam only, which would only show them, but I would like to see what they're reading exactly. So I would ask them to select the browser tab button option. So once this is both switched on, the microphone and the webcam, I would then ask them to click record. Be prepared that once you click record, it would count down to 3 before it starts recording. So let's see. Let's pretend that I'm a student, all right? Record. There you go. A window of myself appears here. It starts counting down. Oops, it says failed to start recording. Please try to reopen the tab you are trying to record. That happens. Let's try to open it up. Let's click Screencastify again. Press record. Two Gleneagles Hospital Penang staff members test positive. Gleneagles Hospital Penang has reported that 2 of its staff members who are from the same family have tested positive for COVID-19. So while the students are reading, the amazing thing about Screencastify is that they can also select, hold on, it seems like it's stuck right now. I'm not sure if that's recording, but let's try and go ahead. So okay, I think it is. So here, what you need to do is just then click, they can select focus mouse so that you know what is it that they're reading. So here, Gleneagles Hospital Penang has reported that 2 of its staff members who are from the same family have tested positive. They can also undo that, and they want to highlight anything in particular. They can draw on it. Don't worry, it's not drawing on the actual thing, it's just drawing on the video. They can clear that with the eraser right here, if you see on the bottom. They can, once they're done, they can just click pause and stop. And it would open up a new window, which they can then send to you. So here, what I would ask the students to do firstly is to change the name of the document. This would be called, for example, Natasha reading assignment. Reading assignment, all right? I can then play the video here. It records exactly whatever I recorded earlier. And I'll stop that for now. And then I could either copy shareable link. This is also the same what you would do if you're sending instructions to your students via WhatsApp. You'll just copy shareable link, paste that to your WhatsApp group with students, or the students can also click share to Classroom. They can share to Google Classroom. They could choose to send it in email. They could publish it to YouTube if they want. So here, once you click share to Classroom, all the student needs to do is to select the right classroom right here and then click share. And that's done. Okay, so that's just one of the assignments which you can create using the Screencastify tool. Like I mentioned earlier, that's the news presenter assignment. You could also do this with to test their reading skills. To test their reading skills as well, you could send them a short story to read out loud. I like the news presenter assignment to help them feel like they're on TV. All right. So that's just one of the ways you can use Screencastify in the classroom. There are at least 49 other ideas of how you can also use it with your students across different languages, across different subjects. You can click on the link that I have provided in my presentation slides, which is once again available in the description box. All right. Let me check if you have any questions. Okay, so here we have a question if it can read Malay. It can, but it's not, I believe you're referring to the read and write tool earlier. It can, but it's not very accurate because it is, there is only the voice of an Indonesian who can read it out loud. So it sounds very Indonesian, with a very Indonesian accent when she reads it, unfortunately. So we don't have the Malaysian reader voice yet. What else? So will the read and write be able to read other languages? That's from Teacher Simi right here. Yes, it can read other languages. It might not be as accurate as the English language because that is the main language currently. Screencasting URL, my colleague has already shared that with you. Screencastify URL. Let me see if there are any other questions. So far, we have covered read and write. We have covered Screencastify. Okay. So here we have a question from a teacher. Read and write for students, just 30 days trial. Yes, unfortunately, that is the case. It's a 30 days trial, but even after 30 days, they would still have access to the the text-to-speech function, which is great. And in this 30 days, I believe it's a great time for you to use it as much as possible while we're at home with the MCO. We had a question from Teacher William here. Is it installable on the phone? Not read and write. Okay. Yep, news presenter, interesting. I enjoy, I would love to see my students act as a news presenter. It's always fun. We have a teacher from Sabah here, making me laugh. Teacher May here has shared a very real struggle, which is that some of my students don't have internet access at home. I feel you. We're aware of that. We at ARUS are trying to come up with more webinar content, perhaps in the next series, of how we can address this issue for students who struggle with internet access at home. Okay, Teacher June here is asking, how can we use our own material? So when it comes to read and write, you can easily open up a Google Doc, create a new document, copy paste your own material. The cool thing about, let me show you my screen again. The cool thing about read and write documents is that you can also open up a PDF file. So right here, I have, what you need to do is just upload a PDF file to your drive, to your Google Drive. Once you've uploaded it to your Google Drive, you will then click on that and it would say open with here. You can select read and write for Google Chrome. You may need to download the text PDF reader for read and write before that. So once you do that, there would be the read and write for Google Chrome. I have all the links in the description box for you to download the text PDF. So this is how you can actually upload and use your own materials. In this case, I have used the English Form 1 material, official textbook from MOE. So here we have the read and understand section. So what you can do again with read and write, let's go back here, select the toolbar. Just select the paragraph that you want to be read out loud. I'll select this one here. Let me just switch the settings on my screen so you can hear it. Stop screen. Okay, so once you have this screen here, I would just select that. I would then want to hear it. How is it pronounced? Because it is to read and understand. Since you don't want to be reading it 20 times to your 20 students, select that word and click play.
A child naming ceremony of the Ibans is usually done when the child is old enough to be given a bath in the river.
I could click pause.
This is no ordinary
or stop right here before I continue. If I want to change the speed, I can. That's why I would click pause or stop to change the speed. Okay. So yes, teacher, to answer your question, we can use our own material. Let me see if we have other questions. Can it read scan material? If you save it as PDF, the text PDF function of read and write might be able to help you with that. All right. Okay, so moving on. These are just some other speaking tools. I believe the best way for you to learn a language, to be able to speak it, is of course to actually speak it with other people instead of just reading about it. So I would recommend these other speaking tools, which are available on your student's phone or even your phone. This is for Android. So these are the three free apps: HelloTalk, Tandem, and Bilingua. You can click on the link I've provided. It helps students to find native speakers around the world, native English speakers around the world for them to speak with. Some of the speakers might want to learn how to speak Bahasa. So that's the exchange right there. That's why it's called a language exchange. So then they could speak to each other on their phone. That way it helps the students to hear the way it's actually pronounced. I believe that would help them with their speaking. All right. Moving on to our webinar objective number 3, which is to help students hone their writing skills with Thesaurus. There are a lot of writing websites online, which I'm sure that you already have access to. I'm selecting only one tool which can be used on Google Docs for the purpose of today's webinar. So for example, right here, we want to, it's the same thing with One-Look Thesaurus. One second. I personally find Thesaurus to be very useful for non-native speakers, especially those who we have in Malaysia, some parts of Malaysia. Similar to a thick Thesaurus, which I usually lugged around growing up. Students can now refer to a Thesaurus as they read anything online. Okay, so all you need to do is ask the students to download the Thesaurus on this link right here. That would then when you open up a new that you copy paste to Google Docs or that you create to Google Docs, so once they have a story opened up here, all they need to do is then highlight a word, complaining. They would then go to add-ons here. Let me just zoom in so you can see better. Once they click on add-ons, they would just need to select that word and then click on add-ons. Once you've installed it, you'll see One-Look Thesaurus under add-ons, and you can then just select any of the synonyms for complaining. There's whining, there's protesting, there's grumbling. So when students are writing their essays, this would be helpful for them to help perhaps trigger the right word that they want to use. There's also rhymes in case students are writing poems of what rhymes with the word complaining. It also shows you terms that start with complaining or adjectives that you can use with complaining. And nouns, okay, millions of complaints. So that's how the thesaurus works. I find, again, thesaurus to be very helpful for non-native English speakers to help them trigger the right word that they're looking for. Okay, let me just see if we have any more questions. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so that was a very, very simple writing tool I just shared with you right there. If you're looking for more writing assignments, there's also, of course, the British Council website. I will share the link with you in the chat box. There you go. This helps students with a lot more writing assignments. So you can, it's applicable for younger students. If your students are much older, you can click on this button here on the Learn English Teens section. But for the younger students, all you need to do is just select any of the stories that gives you a lot of writing assignments if you want, speaking assignments as well. So over here, you'll see the toolbar up here on British Council. There's listen and watch, there's read and write, there's speak and spell, there's grammar and vocab, there's also fun and games. There's printables as well for you, which is great for you to send over WhatsApp if you need to with worksheets. Okay. All right, before we move on to our fourth objective today of creating interactive Q&A with new tools, let me see if you have any more questions. Teacher William has a question of, is the thesaurus embedded in Google or do we need to install it? You do need to, it is an extension which you need to add to Chrome, similar to the read and write tool. Once you have it downloaded, you would see an icon right next to the search bar. Okay, great. Moving on. Moving on to our next section, our fourth and final objective of today's webinar is to create interactive Q&As for your students. I'm aware that there are many students out there who do not have access to their own laptops and may only be able to access assignments on their phones or on their parents' phones at certain times. So these are two tools which you can use with students who only have access to phones and not laptops. You know, they are very WhatsApp friendly. Okay. So the first one is Quizizz. I'm sharing two with you. The first one is Quizizz. It's quite similar to other tools which you might have come across already, like Pear Deck, Quizlet, EducaPlay, or WordWall. If you search Aris Academy on YouTube, you will be able to find tutorials on these other functions. But for today's webinar, let's check out what Quizizz is like. You can click on this link right here. Let me just close all these other tabs. Again, British Council also has a bunch of games, fun and games, tongue twisters, which you can share with your students via a link, or they can answer it directly here. You can copy and paste the games to Google Classroom, which is amazing. So here, find a quiz. What will you teach today? Of course, you'll need to create an account as usual. Let me just zoom in again so you can see. Right here. So let me just zoom in so you can see. So here, once you open Quizizz, you'll have to, of course, sign up. I've already signed up here. It's free. Don't you just love all this free stuff for teachers? So search for quizzes on any topic. Of course, we want to learn, we want to see what are the other quizzes for English subject taught across the world. You know, what are the other quizzes that teachers are coming up with? So here, there's a lot of quizzes that's already created, which you can either use and credit for your class, or you can create your own. So let's see. Here, one of the ways you can very easily create a quiz. You can click on an existing quiz, practice, click on the practice button. You can share practice link to Google Classroom, as I mentioned earlier. So you would then just need to select your classroom, which you would already have set up. So you can share it to it, so you can link it to the account. So you'll just select the right Google Classroom to share it to. All right. You can also copy, like I mentioned earlier, you can also use this to copy it to WhatsApp. Copy link, open up your WhatsApp, send that over to your student, and they can then open this up on their phones and practice and answer the quiz. So excuse me, should it be do you speak or are you speaking? So then you can click the answers here. Do you speak, for example, or are you speaking? You can ask the students to show answer if they want to. Okay. So there are a ton of quizzes which you can use for your students, for your kids, if there are moms watching right now. Or alternatively, if you feel that, you know what, I need something more difficult for my students, I want to create a new quiz for them. So you can create a new quiz here, quiz name English 101, subject English, next. It's super easy. I find it super user-friendly for teachers, you know, who are having a headache trying to figure out all the different tools available online. So here you can select what kind of quiz you'd like to create, whether it's multiple choice or fill in the blanks. You know, there's so many different types you can create for the English language. So once you have done that, fill in the blank, for example, add the answer, write your question here. There is, so let me put a blank here. There is blank elephant. So what is the answer? Should it be N? Yes, it should. You could create alternatives. There is the elephant. There is the elephant. You can create another alternative if you want. Once that's done, you can select how many seconds you want the students to spend on it. Super easy. Let's make it 5 seconds. And I could then click save. That is one question right there. I would just copy and paste it, duplicate to create a lot more questions. Once you're done, just click done, save it, and you can then, so here you need to select grades. I would just select first grade for here. You can make it public, you can make it private, and click save. Once you're done, again, click on practice, share practice link, copy paste it to WhatsApp, and your student can already answer it. All right. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Please do feel free to explore all the different other functions, all the many other different quizzes you can create on Quizizz. And again, do search on Aros Academy's YouTube page to see the different other tools that you can use to create more interactive Q&As. So we have learned about a lot of other more formal tools so far. Just reading the comments. So we've learned a lot more of formal tools so far. I would like to also include informal methods of teaching with my students. Excuse me. We can't deny how much students love their videos and songs, you know, so I would use this to our advantage and let them enjoy their song while also learning at the same time. So here's how. Again, this is an informal tool, so I would highly recommend that you have a look at the videos available on this website before you share them with your students. So what it does is LyricsTraining. Who doesn't love karaoke, right? So what you can do, you can even have a sing-along, a karaoke session with your students if you want to. So again, you'll have to create a free account on LyricsTraining. Then you'll have to select a song. For this webinar, I'd like to select something by Ed Sheeran. You can select the different levels of the students. And then, say, for example, I want to select beginner. And I'll just press here to start the game. So this LyricsTraining basically requires the students to fill in the blanks for the lyrics of this video. So I could fast forward. I would press here to continue. Hold on, I just want to make sure that you're able to hear my screen. So I'll just change the settings. Chrome tab, share and share. Okay, let's continue. So play. Darling, just dive right in. Follow my lead. I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. I never knew you were the someone. Okay, so students, we just need to fill in the blanks for the lyrics, which goes missing in the lyrics bar. So they can press here to continue anytime. You can make it more difficult, which means there will be more blanks to fill in. Okay, I think you get the idea. So you can change it to any videos of your choice, and you can always share it with your students. Okay. Link for this. Yes, you can hear it, Sharon. Great. So the link for this has been shared in the chat box. It is LyricsTraining.com. It is free. Okay. Let me see if there are any other questions before I move on. Okay, none for now. So I would like to recap the different things that we have learned in the past 55 minutes. Okay. We have learned the 4 different ways you can teach students the English language, whether it's through reading and listening, using the read and write tool, and also using ebooks. One second, let me switch my screen. There you go. Thank you so much, Teacher Smart GS Reng, for sharing some tools here as well. So let me just recap first. So we've learned all the different tools that we can use for reading and listening. We learned how to use read and write tool, and also ebooks. For speaking, we've learned how to use Screencastify. For writing, we've learned how to use a simple thesaurus on Google Docs. To create interactive Q&As, we have learned how to use LyricsTraining and also Quizizz. That's not specific, right? Okay. Let me know if you have any other questions. And the great thing about all these tools that you've learned is that you can bring them together and feature them into your Google Classroom for your class. I will not go into detail about how to create a Google Classroom because Arus Academy has had a Google Classroom tutorial. I have included the tutorial link if you would like to find out how you can bring together all these different tools on Google Classroom. Before I move on to the end of our webinar, let me check if we have any more questions. Thank you. I'm glad that the teachers are finding it as good sharing. Please let me know if you have any questions. Remember that all these tools can be used on your phone, on your laptops, some of them. Teacher Simi here is obviously into karaoke. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, one second. Let me just recap. So then you can use, you can go on this link, on this tutorial link to find out how you can bring all this together on Google Classroom. This is a little more about Arus Academy. If you have found the webinar to be useful, please do tell your teacher friends about us. Arus Academy has been running various webinars in partnership with MOE and Google for Education since the MCO started. I think almost a month and a half ago. You can view our YouTube channel for all the recordings of these past webinars. Here is a list of some of the webinars we've had this week. We've taught you how you can teach geography, history, science, maths, ASK language, Bahasa Melayu, using Google Tools. Tomorrow, there will be 2 more webinars which you can catch. One is for RBT teachers. You stand a chance to win a microbit set worth 99 ringgit if you watch tomorrow's webinar at 10 a.m. Or for the Mandarin teachers who would love to learn all the different Google tools you can use to teach your kids Mandarin, please tune in to our channel at 2 p.m. tomorrow. We are also currently in the midst of planning for more content for the 4th phase of the MCO. So if you have any ideas of what you would love to learn more about when it comes to e-learning, do share it with us. Another very useful e-learning resource platform for teachers, MOE teachers especially, which we have, is the Community Guru Digital Learning. I have included a link for it right here. It features quick video tutorials, 2 minutes video tutorials with subtitles and notes for you. So you can learn more about Google Classroom, Google Docs, Google Slides, all the many different things to help you with your online teaching and learning. There are already more than 1,000 teachers on this platform, so don't miss out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, teachers, brings us to the end of our webinar. It is 3 o'clock. Thank you so much for watching. To receive a certificate for today's webinar, please fill up the feedback form, which will be in the chat box. You will find a link to the feedback form there, as well as the more info on Ladakh page for the MOE teachers once you fill up the feedback form. I truly hope that you have learned something new, which will help you in sharing the love of the English language with your students, whether or not you're with them in person. If you have enjoyed our sharing, don't forget to connect with us on our social media platforms. Click subscribe on our YouTube channel or follow us on Facebook and Instagram, as well as the Telegram, because that is where we have a lot of Q&As with the teachers. Thank you so much, teachers. I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you. Bye.